Hello, and welcome to the Purple Chair podcast. Thank you so much for listening. I'm Laura Labuda, and I'm here with Krista. She is a fellow Pittsburgh native. I don't know if you know him, but I'm from Pittsburgh, and so is she. She is a strong woman who is passionate about wellness, health, and a holistic well-being. She is a wellness coach, a registered nurse, as well as a pitching coach. She is the owner of Primal Pitching, and she is well AF. So welcome, Krista.
Thank you so much, Laura. I'm so excited to be here, and I'm so grateful to you for inviting me on today. I really appreciate it.
Yay.
So excited to hang out
here. And guess what? I wore my sit-down pants today. Do you know what sit-down pants are?
I do, because I also wore mine. And I didn't know that was like a term, but it's super appropriate.
So last week I was doing the podcast and I went to sit down and I'm like, oh, I usually stand up all day long. So I wear stand-up pants, and on podcast day you have to wear sit-down pants.
Ladies, you know what that's about.
Yes. So, I only get the most badassy women here in my chair at the Purple Chair, you being one of them.
I'm honored.
I actually have women from all walks of life, from 0 to 100. My oldest customer just turned 100, and she is a lovely human being. Fantastic. So what do you think makes a strong woman, a Wonder Woman?
Ooh, Wonder Woman. I like it. Well, I think that's really awesome because even though we have completely different clientele in terms of what we do, I also have quite a range of women that I work with, from the softball aspect, students as young as 8, and wellness coaching, adults late into adulthood, really. So from all walks of life, yeah, I feel like I work with strong women, and I'm really blessed to be able to do that. But the question was, what makes a woman strong? Mm-hmm. Well, I think it's being authentic to yourself, letting your freak flag fly. And I'm so proud I just didn't stumble through that. It's a lot of F's to get out. But not being, not trying to conform to what society tells us is normal and what we should be, because I feel like there's a lot of pressure, maybe in particular, like in this area that we live in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's something I definitely, because I'm a hairdresser, mm-hmm. I ride that fine line between being authentic and wanting to wear my sit-down pants and then looking put together and being a hairdresser.
Yes, mm-hmm. Absolutely. Because I know when I work as a registered nurse, there's like certain standards, and when we've done my hair real awesome, I have to like try to hide it, because of restrictions in the workplace. But then in my business, I want to be super true to me, so I want to let that out. But it's this like dichotomy, this challenge.
Yeah, she's in the unicorn club.
Not currently,
Not right now, but she's been in it before.
I'm in and out. I dip my toes in every once in a while.
So you are a business owner.
Yes.
A woman business owner. And I think I see myself as just a business owner. I never really think of it as like a woman business owner, but do you, like in your profession, do you think it's a thing?
Yes, 100%.
Yeah?
In both areas, in softball and in wellness coaching. In softball, of course, because I work with females, women. We just had that conversation about that word. But I think it's really good because a lot of what I do is, I train bodies. I work in form and, body mechanics. But I often tell people that I train brains more than bodies, because a lot of the athletes I work with are going through puberty or in middle school or high school, and there's so many changes and so much pressure with social media that I often work on like confidence and showing up as who they are and being authentic. And I think it's super important at that age. And then in terms of my wellness coaching, I've been thinking a lot about women spelled WOMXN, which is kind of a more of like an all-encompassing term, like women of color. And maybe that also applies to like transgender people, everybody, just to include all walks of female identifying individuals. And with wellness coaching, for me, it's mostly like, how can I get you back to like who you really are? I feel like we outsource so many things in our lives to people who don't know us, that we often are like really lost in that regard. And so a lot of what I do with wellness coaching is honestly to connect you with what you actually want. And it's really client guided, and I'm just the one asking the right questions and getting you to get there.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
Well, we have a very special anniversary.
Yes, we do.
Yeah,
and we just realized it like right now.
What, you have been coming to the Purple Chair for a year this week.
Yes,
yeah?
literally.
Yeah.
That's so amazing.
So how did we meet? How did you wind up in this chair?
In the purple chair. So we have a mutual friend who's also named Krista, spelled the same, and she's also from Pittsburgh.
True story.
But none of us knew each other in Pittsburgh, which is really funny. And now we're in Columbia, South Carolina. But I had been working with her with my students because she's an athletic trainer. She'd been on my podcast back then. And it was probably the second time that I had actually ever met her, and she just looked at me and she said, "You need to meet Laura. Like, you're just gonna love her. She owns a Purple Chair, and I'd never heard of you." And it was so funny because it was probably like a week later where I was driving and I saw your car that had the purple.
Oh, I forgot about that.
So it was like she told me about you, and then I saw your
Then I
car
told you about
that
it.
had the Purple Chair like logo and signage on it, and I was like, okay, like I was ready to like go bananas with my hair anyway. It was like perfect timing, and it was like, let's do this.
Oh yeah, I remember that. I remember it. Remember we put tinsel in your hair?
We put tinsel in, and we went purple. You just posted
like
a picture a few days ago. It was super bright.
Yeah,
It was amazing.
Yeah, that was a good. Yeah.
My hair tendencies definitely ebb and flow, like with my state of being.
She's a hairdresser without actually being a hairdresser. It's okay.
I'm the hairdresser that hairdressers don't like.
No, not at all. Not at all. We like to change it up. I always say there's a hairdresser on the inside of all of us. So yeah. So when you're looking for a hair salon or a hairdresser or hairstylist, those terms, just use it interchangeably.
Yeah.
What are you looking for?
For me, it's someone who's going to help get this vision I have in my head that I'm often very poor at explaining, but like into reality. And so I've struggled a lot and probably do so much experimenting on myself because there's a certain level of trust that has to be there. That's my hair. I feel like it's pretty iconic for me. Mm-hmm. I had a parent of a pitching student call me today, and the reason they called for lessons was because the daughter was like, "Whoa, her hair is awesome. We need to talk to her. She looks fun." And I was like, yeah. But I mean, it's, we've talked about appearance and how that plays into like being a woman. But I mean, it's like, I feel like it's part of my personal brand. So it's really important to me. So I look for someone who kind of embodies a lot of the same values that I do. And I love purple, and I was going for purple hair at the time. So it was like, okay, like the way everything happened, like it had to be. And then I've kept coming back because you deliver and you're fun and you're real, and we have like earth-shattering conversations in the chair, I love it.
Well, you just answered my question. I was asking what keeps you coming back to the same hairdresser?
Well, it's much
been several times over the year. Yeah.
Yeah, we've done a number of things with color and cut. I had an undercut that was like to the skin almost, and so now I'm in the screw out phase. Which, lucky for me, Laura got rid of my mullet about a month ago now.
Your Malay. It's very fancy, Malay.
Yeah, it's a lot more fun, so that I don't have to stand in my bathroom with like a mirror in front of me and like trying to buzz the back of my hair or try to cut it and then be like, well, I don't have to look at it. It doesn't even matter. So now I actually have confidence.
Yes, I'll take care of you. So I was taking a look at your website. What's your website?
So you can go to iamwellaf.com or wellaf.me. I'm transitioning because of just the way it's easiest to just go to iamwellaf.com.
But I was checking out one of your blog posts, and I really love your take on health and wellness. So I've been practicing so I don't slip it up here. What the bleep is a wellness coach?
Yeah, I feel like that's the biggest question I get, and I think where I've had it's been easy for me to like postpone like coming out as a wellness coach. I actually posted on Instagram last week the question, like, when you hear wellness coach, what do you think of? And the results I got were kind of disheartening. Things like diet, restriction, weight, working out all the time. And it was words that sounded like kind of restrictive, oppressive, and that's like the opposite of what I do. I feel like my job as a wellness coach is to free you of all these societal, confines. So when I think about pitching coach, like, I'm not there to do the work for you. I'm there to give you the tools to do things for yourself. So that's really how I think about wellness coaching. I meet my clients where they are. I don't have like this blueprint that I apply to every single person. Like, our first session is longer because we go through your background, your history, what you struggle with the most, where you see the most obstacles, and we break it down. We create personalized goals, and we do weekly check-ins. Like, where are you here? Did we assign too much? Where can we pull back? What are you most proud of? And things like that. So, I'm like kind of your cheerleader. I'm also, your go-to when you're like, oh my gosh, like, I don't know what to do in this situation. Like, you can phone a friend. But I'm like there in the background, like, you need to check in with me, but it's not at all like a shame, guilt, like icky kind of thing.
That's awesome. I always say that I screwed this one up earlier too. I always say what you put into your body comes out in your hair. Do you ever notice a correlation between health and wellness and hair?
Yes, absolutely. Well, we had this conversation before, aside from health and wellness, but I remember when I was probably 12, I had surgery and had anesthesia. And after then, my pinned straight hair became real wavy afterwards, which my mom just thought it was crazy. But you confirmed that that's like a real thing.
It's totally a thing.
Which I thought was super wild. And then I mentioned that I'm growing out my undercut, and I think I stopped cutting it in late October, and I went in a month ago for like I said, to get rid of the melee.
Yeah, she came in one appointment before that, and she was like, "Don't touch it!
I was like,
don't touch it! What are you doing?"
But you were like floored at the growth.
Yeah, for sure. I cannot believe how fast your hair is growing.
Yeah.
So what is that? You said October?
Late October, yeah.
November.
And we cut it in January. Like, we
months.
trimmed it up a pretty good bit. So, I mean, it was like to the skin in October.
That should give you get a half an inch to an inch a month. So you're probably closer to the inch
plus.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Inch.
Yeah. So I feel like the growth, and it's not like I'm supplementing. I, really work on like, it's easy to think wellness coaching and think nutrition, which of course is like a huge part of it. But I mean, I focus so much on like sleep, because if you're not sleeping, you're probably not going to make good food choices. Your stress level is going to be really high. Your hormones are going to be all out of whack, and your relationships are going to suffer because of that. So it's like this whole like vicious cycle. And my job, for once you kind of get all those things packed in different areas, everything goes a little bit more smoothly.
It's kind of like you're working on the inside, and I'm working on the outside.
Yeah, we work together. Yeah. So if
yeah.
we get everyone together, we can all like help them meet in the middle.
And we're back from our coffee break. So you were telling me, Krista, about a client of yours that was getting some awesome feedback, and
Yeah.
not about nutrition. She's something. Yeah.
Yes.
Can you tell me about that?
Of course.
Or tell them about that too?
Yeah, I know. I'm like just in the zone with you.
Hey, we got friends here.
So one of my clients, we've been working together for about a month, and I typically do like 3 months at a time. We've focused a lot with her on sleep, and a lot of that revolves around like tidying up her bedroom and kind of cutting back on TV and stuff. But also other things we're working on with her have to do with just like going for a walk outside like a few days a week. And in the last week, she's gotten feedback from multiple people she works with that she looks amazing and like she lost weight. And we actually haven't addressed nutrition in any capacity, which is, I think, so cool because that's what wellness is. It's not just this one component. And I think for so many, it is restriction. It is, I've got to cut calories, and I've got to make sure I'm running like 3 hours a day and cardio until I can't feel my toes. And it's like, look, you make small adjustable changes that are actually going to stick, and you make them new habits. And that's what's really going to get you going where you need to go.
That's awesome. At It makes me think of when I was at Paul Mitchell, we called it the 10% shift.
Ooh.
Yeah. So if you like set off on this course and you just change 10%, you wind up in a whole new destination.
Yeah, and it's so much more digestible because I think, it's February now, but January is all like resolution season and I'm going to lose X amount of pounds. And like, we kind of make really big claims and put a ton of pressure to do a complete overhaul on our lives, which it's just not feasible. There's already so much pressure and stress on our lives. And then we put these goals that we think are going to make us happy, but it's just what like Cosmo says I should do. Or, I saw this on Instagram from a Fitspo person. And so I need to have those abs. And at the end of the day, we're just chasing this value that we don't even value, and so it's not fulfilling, and then we're stuck regardless. And often then what happens is we think, oh, I failed, right? Like that's such a big thing, and it's just we're just not going about it the right way. There's an easier way. You don't have to be miserable through change.
So you mentioned about cleaning up the room.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, like
Decluttering
is huge. So
it's wild.
It is. Well, you guys all know I move everything around at the shop. Like, I think since this podcast started, the shop has changed probably 4 times, and it gives me a chance to like clean up underneath things, but it also like stirs up the energy of the space.
It's wild. Yeah. And also it releases things within. So probably like a year and a half ago, I like completely overhauled my kitchen in terms of like, I emptied out every cupboard, cleaned it out, got rid of so much stuff. And the next day, I just out of nowhere started sobbing. And I could not stop. But it was like just decluttering, like it really shifted something like in me. And it was like, I still can't explain it. But like I've heard of that from like multiple other people.
Like a release.
Yeah, but I mean, and that's so true. Like where you spend the most amount of your time, like it should be a space that you're happy to be in. If it's something that causes you added stress, then how are you going to do these other things that cause you stress and expect to succeed? It's just not, it's not real.
Oh, I definitely think that my purple chair is my happy place. Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
I can tell. I love it.
I know. Ooh, it makes me so warm and fuzzy on the inside. So, you're a one-woman business.
Yes.
Yeah. So I know that when it's a one-on-one or a solo, what do I always say? I'm flying solo, just me. And
one woman wolf pack.
I know, high five. I am not everyone's hairdresser. Yes. I do not fit everyone's style. I mean, face tattoo. Some people don't like that. Some people like tattoos.
I do.
Our location is pretty different. You have to come through Belladonna's, which is downstairs. It's an awesome store if you've not checked it out. Belladonna's on St. Andrews Road. She is lovely downstairs.
Phenomenal.
But also that is, you have to be comfortable in that space to come up to this space. And I know that I'm not everyone's hairdresser. So how do you go about finding your ideal client?
Yeah, well, I think for you being located here, I think it's awesome because it's very upfront with like your values and, your beliefs. And I think it makes it very apparent to people. And so I'm the same way. I tell people, look, I'm not everybody's flavor of wellness coach, but that's fine because I can probably connect you with someone who is. But so for me, it really comes to being authentic, like I've tried before an approach where I'm like really sterile, like coming from nursing in the hospital world and everything. It's like, and that's not me. Like I have wild hair and I have tattoos and I like to swear. I'm from Pittsburgh. It's just natural. It's not offensive to me.
We are doing a really good job at keeping it. We were talking about that at the beginning, right before the camera started, about how are we going to keep it?
What can I get away with on here?
Beep, beep, free.
But I don't feel stifled. I feel like I'm able to speak without swearing. Obviously, I don't swear to my pitching students. But yeah, so I think like being super authentic up front, and also, my ideal client is the woman who is just honestly like fed up, who's just like, I'm overwhelmed, and I'm so tired of counting calories. I'm so tired of placing my self-worth with a number on the scale. And I just need help. And I think it takes a lot to get to that point. I know I'm not someone who likes to ask for help. It's really hard for me, which is why it has taken me so long also to like, even like getting my hair cut. When we talked about as a business owner too, you think, what can I do myself? Everything. I'll find a way, even if it takes me 10 times as long. And I think about my wellness journey, which I started doing things, I would say more right about 6 years ago. And that's 6 years ago, you know, and it's just kind of, I think like, where could I be if like maybe I had some help and someone to just reframe things. But yeah, you know, I just feel like we spend so much of our lives as women, and this is my experience as a white, you know, heterosexual woman. This may not be typical of everyone. But so much of our lives, our value is placed on our appearance. You know, we see young girls and we say, oh my gosh, she's beautiful. And like that young boy is strong. And it's really hard because you think, you know, if you don't hear it, well, then am I unattractive? But then if you do hear it, like, well, that's shallow. Like there's a lot more to me than that. So there's this like conflict that I feel like
I ride the fine line of like that.
Yeah.
Being in an industry where it's so like beauty driven, it's very like, how much is too much and how much is not enough, and how much am I willing to change myself for my customers? Because I totally bust out into a belly dance every once in a while because I mean, you know, when I try to be real profesh, it backfires so hardcore.
Yeah. I love it. And I hear a lot too, like, well, I just need to lose 5 pounds for this vacation, or I just need to lose 10 pounds and then I'll be happy. But you know, the thing is, like, if you don't love yourself now where you are, you're not going to love yourself 10 pounds from now. And, as a nurse, you know, I work in offices now and I have to have people get on the scale because insurance companies, and it doesn't matter if she's in her 20s or 90s, it's always this big point of contention, and I ruin people's days, and it makes me so upset that we spend so much of our time hating this number. That tells you nothing about your value as a human, as how lovable you are to your partner or kids, or how much you give back to your community, or how much you love the color purple, or you know what I mean? Like when I think one way for me to really be like sure of something I'm working on in terms of my wellness is when 90 years from now when I'm on my deathbed, am I going to be happy that I spent this much time thinking about it? And when I think about like my weight, it's no. Like I'd rather be present with the people that I care about. I'd rather be working to help other women get out of this and accomplish things, because how much does that hold us back in a lot of ways? Well, I shouldn't be a wellness coach. I don't have a 6-pack. Like that's BS, you know what I mean? But it's been in my head before.
You know what? That makes me think about my belly dance journey. So
I've belly danced also.
Yeah, we were in classes together.
It's fun. You should try it.
And Krista, other Krista,
another
from
Krista,
she dances too. I'm calling you out, friend. When my grandmother passed away, I had this total freak out about like, oh my God, I'm gonna die from something unexpectedly, and so I got on this kick of like no sugar. Which is literally the best thing that's ever, like, the best decision. Even though I still enjoy sugar, I don't too much.
Yeah,
I don't go too far in with it. So like a little bit goes a long way.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, so I had to make this trip to Pittsburgh because I needed to make sure that, you know, my family up there was okay. And in the time that I cut the sugar to the time that I went to see my dad, I dropped like 10 pounds in like a week because I cut out the sugar. And I went to the Renaissance Festival in Pittsburgh.
So great.
Yeah, it's not far from his house. Yeah, the Renaissance Festival in Pittsburgh. And I was so struck by the belly dancers. Like it just totally, I don't know. I was so drawn in with their movements and their body shapes. And I'll tell you, like it wasn't just women. It was men and women and skinny girls and, you know, the larger women when they're dancing, like, oh, gorgeous. I have goosebumps.
I know, me too. It's
I have
it's
goosebumps.
an immense skill.
So
I
when
mean, it
I'm-
is art.
Oh, it's so hard. It's hard. But, they all make it look easy. So that was the trick. It sucked me in because I'm like, oh my God, I could do that. So I posted on Facebook and I'm like, I want a belly dance. How can I do this? So I signed up for class and I started and I go through my first 6 weeks and my teacher shows us this costume that we are going to wear. And this is going to sound really stupid and I can't believe I'm about to admit this, but you just show your belly. Like at the Renaissance Festival in Pittsburgh, they were dressed in a style where they didn't show their belly. Had I seen that, I would never have wanted to do that because I'm so like, ooh.
Yeah.
But you know what? I did it.
Everybody is a belly dance body.
Mm-hmm. Everybody's a dance body.
Everybody's a dance body. I mean, it's like the people who are like, well, I'll wear a bikini when I'm this size. Like, guess what? You can wear a bikini now. Nobody cares. And if they do care, get them out of your life. For real. If people who love you care about that, you're with the wrong people.
Yeah. Yeah, so I put on a 2-piece for the first time since I was 6 years old. And I was like, I can feel the word coming. I feel beeping awesome.
I was so close. Darn it.
Yeah. There was nothing more empowering than doing something I was afraid to do because of the way I looked. Yeah.
Well, and a lot of that is because of things we make up that we think other people are going to think, that other people are going to judge us. Well, I can't wear this shirt because people are going to think I look like, and well, I can't say this because so-and-so is going to get offended. And it's like, yeah, I mean, you should be respectful, of course, but we shouldn't have to minimize ourselves and we shouldn't, it's stifling. It's just to live thinking what other people are going to judge you at. And you don't even know. You're making it up in your head half the time. Not you, you know what I mean? How many times we do that with so many things. Maybe me coming on this podcast. Well, someone's going to think I'm full of crap. That's fine. I'm not your flavor of health coach. We can still be friends.
I might not be your hairdresser. I'm still going to love you anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, it's so true, though. I'm still happy to support you any way I can. Only good vibes here.
Yeah, that was super life-changing. The belly dance and the belly.
Freeing.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, do you just feel a huge weight lifted though? You're taking back your power. Man, chills.
Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman. So, I don't want to forget to bring this up, but you are doing a class downstairs at Belladonna's on
February 29th.
February 29th.
It's a Saturday.
Oh, the leap year day.
It's the leap year day. It's election day. There's a lot going on that day.
And she's doing a talk. Can you tell us more about it?
Lots of energy. Yes. So, I want to connect with the community as much as I can. And so this is really to help us on the right path with figuring out what our goals are, because a lot of times they're just what we think, it should be. It should be a weight, it should be number of pounds lost, it should be calorie restriction, and it's me getting to the way I frame it as what are your big goals in life? What are you on this earth to do? Whether it's to love your grandchildren more or rock your business, and it's okay, well, how can wellness help you? How can it be an instrument for that? Instead of placing everything on weight, because I just feel that's the most common metric we see.
Yeah.
And I don't even ask my clients to weigh because I don't want that to be part of it. It doesn't tell me really much about your health. So I am getting people to start the process of actually figuring out what they want, which is going to be more empowering anyway, and then how to evaluate that. So I base it on basically 4 pillars. I know people call them pillars, or I tend to call them the 4 F's you should give. And so sleep is one of them. Movement is another. I call the next one aura, because it's kind of what you have within that you project, which comes down to personal relationships, stress, self-fulfillment. And then the last category is nutrition, which is honestly the last thing we touch. And so just kind of have people evaluate where they are there and what's the easiest thing you can start to work on. So I'm going to be starting the process with them there. I'm also hopefully going to be mixing up whether like an herbal tea recipe for combating allergies as we head into March and pollen season.
Yeah, I was thinking about that on the way to work. I'm like, is it my makeup or was it like?
I've been studying herbs and I think it's fascinating.
Oh,
so
awesome.
yeah, but I'm really excited. So yeah, it's Saturday, February 29th at 6:30 p.m. And you have to register with Janet Belladonna's, and we can link that information, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hope to see you there.
On Leap Year Day.
Yay.
Well, I want to thank you so much for hanging out with us today on the Purple Chair podcast. How can people find you or learn more about you?
Yes, so I'm on Instagram at well.af. I have a Facebook page, but I've come to the realization that societal pressure makes me feel like I should have Facebook. And it's not my favorite medium of communicating. So I'm most active on Instagram stories, and I'm also going to be launching a podcast in March. So that's like the best way for me to feel like really connected with people. You can also, let's see, my website is iamwellaf.com. There's contact forms there. You can DM me on Instagram. If you just search my name, you'll find me.
Yeah. And don't forget to follow The Purple Chair on all the social media. Check out our website, thepurplechairsalon.com. Oh, shoot.
Record scratch. Keep going.
Keep going. I was going to talk about pants. And don't forget to put your sit-down pants or your stand-up pants on one leg at a time. Thanks. Bye, friends.